confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a skill and an action. It's not something you feel. You don't feel confident. You are confident. Welcome back to Quiet Wealth. We're going to dive in today because this is episode 104, the simple formula for unshakable confidence. Do you want unshakable confidence? Do you want to be the type of person who is confident in what they do? Well, I'm going to tell you something, that when you have more confidence, you get paid more. You have greater influence. You're going to get a better job. You're more admired by people, and you have this ability to be magnetic. So I have a question. Have you experienced this? Perhaps you got a promotion at work and you're invited to the meetings with the bigwigs. I remember experiencing this, my first meeting with the bigwigs, which was basically the CEO of the company. And suddenly your confidence level plummets and you worry that maybe I'm not the right person for this job. Or maybe you have a big idea in your head about owning your own business someday and finally being the boss of your own life. And then you make up a story in your head about how you don't know how to do that. And I could never have the confidence to take such a risk. Guess what? Here's the problem is that we always say to ourselves that we don't feel confident, but we're misnaming that. I need you to reframe confidence. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a skill and an action. It's not something you feel. You don't feel confident. You are confident. You create confidence because it's a skill that I want you to learn. And it's a skill that I have had to work on so hard to get to where I am today. But you know what? The more you build confidence in your life, the greater the risks you're going to take, and the more fulfilled your life is going to be. But if confidence is something we all want, I'm sure you're thinking, oh yes, I want that. Why is it so hard to master? Because if you had more confidence right now, this moment, I want you to think about how would your life be different? What would you be doing in your life that you're not currently doing? What would you allow into your life? How would you reach for something? What would you go after? And guess what, my friend? That is all within your reach. It 100% is within your reach. You simply have to build the confidence to go after it. Confidence is basically a willingness to try. It's an action. So when you're willing to try something, even before you're ready, because a lot of times we hold ourselves back and we're like, well, I want to do this thing, but I'm not ready. Guess what? If you just go out there and try it before you're ready, you start yourself onto that train of creating what neuroscientists call a confidence-competence loop. And it's a loop because the more you try, the more you gain confidence to continue trying. And the more you try, the more competent you become at that skill. Whenever you try something new, you will grow. And if you're the kind of person that's willing to try over and over and over and over and over and over again, you gain mastery. Because true confidence begins the moment you're willing to try. So are you willing to look like an idiot? Because we all start from square one. I'll give you an example of when I decided to look like an idiot. Just a simple example. My kids, when they were in high school, decided they wanted to try out for the tennis team. We had never been a tennis family. I was an athlete growing up. I was a soccer athlete. I did swim team. I was on the track team. And I had a lot of awards and I did really well. And I got to go play in the Netherlands playing soccer. I loved sports. I still love all sports. Well, maybe not basketball. And so my kids decided to try tennis, and it was fun to watch them learn a new skill. So I was like, hey, I want to try tennis too. I mean, I'm an athlete. I should be able to do this easily. So I get myself a racket and a ball, and I go out there with my kids, and I'm trying to hit the ball. And oh man, I was terrible. I was terrible at tennis. And I was like confused. I'm like, why am I so terrible at this? Because I'm an athlete. Sports should come naturally to me, right? And sometimes we get into this fallacy. And a lot of that is perfectionism mindset, which I have also struggled with throughout my life. But I've decided that, you know what? I need to slow down and I need to figure out the exact stroke. And I think I'm okay looking like an idiot. And my kids laughed at me and they snickered at me and and it was fine. It was fine because it takes some time. And so I went out there and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. I'm still not great at tennis, but I can play. I can play now and it's fun and I can have fun with it. I could have been like, oh, I'm just not good at it. And this is something that soapbox here for Camilla, it drives me crazy is when people just shrug their shoulders and like, well, it's just not for me. I'm just not good at it. Because you can be good at it. You absolutely can be good at whatever you want to be good at. You just have to try. Because here's the difference. I'm willing to try. People ask me often, Camilla, what's your secret? What's your secret to doing all the things that you're doing and, raising 5 kids, having your real estate business, having a financial education business? What else are you doing? How are you doing all of this? And my secret is, frankly, I'm willing to try. I'm willing to put myself out there. I'm willing to look like an idiot. I'm willing to start at 0 because everyone starts at 0. I'm willing to look terrible in videos. I'm willing to figure out podcasting. I'm willing to put myself out there because I want to be confident and I want to be good at many different things. And before you get a misnomer, confidence has nothing to do with like swagger or bravado. That's ego. That's not what I'm talking about here. I don't want you to have a big ego, an inflated ego. And I think sometimes we as women shy away from that. And confidence also has nothing to do with being extroverted or introverted. Extroversion and introversion is just simply the way you get your energy. You can be super confident extrovert and you could be a super confident introvert. Nothing to do with those personalities. Confidence comes from practicing and doing. It's an action. The way that confidence is built is not necessarily when things are easy. It's not necessarily when things are going your way and everything is just happening and it's doing well for you. Confidence is actually built in the moments that are hard. It requires you to try. It requires you to feel like an imposter. It requires you to lean forward. It's action that you have to take, especially in the moments that are hard. Sometimes courage is another concept that comes first, and then it leads to confidence. If you can muster up a little bit of courage to try, your confidence is going to grow. I have a couple of strategies for you and a formula that I want you to use in your life to be able to get to unshakable confidence. If I didn't learn how to push myself and really practice these steps, I promise you, friend, I'd still be in bed. I'd be consumed with anxiety and depression, and I would be feeling like a failure. It is absolutely worth trying. So here's the formula. The formula is positive self-talk plus action plus repetition equals unshakable confidence. I want to give a quick shout out to my podcast manager, Abby. If you're in need of help in launching and managing your own show, please reach out to her at productions@abbygwaki.com. I'll put her details in the show notes. She really is the best, and I love her. Let me say that again. Positive self-talk plus action plus repetition equals unshakable confidence. So let's talk about this positive self-talk. You need to be your own cheerleader. You need to be the one that is telling yourself you're doing a good job. We are so good at negative self-talk. It's almost like inherent. It feels like I have 4 teenage daughters, and it feels like it's just comes with the territory, comes with being a woman, is that there's just constant negativity flowing in your brain and going in and through and over and around and all sorts of places. You have to identify that. You have to stop it, and you have to replace it with positive self-talk. I remember the first time I was going in for a big interview. It was an interview for my first really big job out of my MBA, and I was scared out of my mind. And here's some of the negative things I was telling myself. I'm too old because I did my MBA when I was 38. All of my classmates were in their early 20s. I was a good 15 years older than the majority of my classmates. Therefore, I was competing for jobs with them. And I was like, man, I don't know why this company would want to hire me because I'm old. And I hadn't been in the workforce. I hadn't been in a corporate job for a long time because I had been home as the stay-home parent for my children. Now it was my turn to go and be part of the corporate world. Scared out of my mind. So I already had this negativity happening in my brain that like, oh, I don't know what to tell them because I don't have experience. I don't know what kind of experience I have or what's going to happen with this. I'm trying to figure out how to go into this interview, and I had prepared. Preparation is another big thing for confidence. The more you prepare for anything that you're going to do, the more confidence you're going to have. Maybe it's taking a test in your classes, or maybe it's going and speaking in front of a large group, or maybe it's writing a book, things like that. The more you prepare, the better you're going to do at it, and the more confidence you're going to have. Because if you didn't prepare and you go in to take a test, you're like, whoop, I'm scared out of my mind. I'm going to fail this test. But the more you prepare, the more you feel like, okay, I could probably do okay on the test. So I'm approaching this big interview. I have a picture of myself that I took in the bathroom because I had looked up ways to be confident in interviews. And one of the YouTube videos that I watched suggested doing what's called a power pose. And a power pose is where you stand up straight and tall. Like think of it as Captain America, right? When he stands up tall with the hands on his hips and chest pumped out. That's a power pose where you take up space. Could be one where you raise your hands above your head. And that's the one I have on my picture. I have my hands raised above my head, taking up space like a big starfish, trying to create the confidence I needed to go in and nail this interview. And so in that moment, when you're standing in front of that mirror, staring at yourself, taking up space, that's where this positive self-talk comes in. And there's a really cute video out there there's a little girl who maybe is 3 or 4 years old. She's standing in front of a mirror and she's like giving herself a pep talk. You are awesome. You are great. You're going to nail this day. It's going to be so good.
I can do anything good. I like my school. I like anything. I like my dad. I like my cousins. I like my aunt. I like my Allisons. I like my mom. I like my sisters. I can do anything good. Yeah.
We need that kind of energy in our life. We need that positive self-talk. And Mel Robbins is one of my favorite people to listen to about this. And she has a couple of really cool methods, but one of them is the high five method. And she said, every time you walk by a mirror, you see yourself in the mirror, I want you to stick your hand up and physically high five yourself in the mirror. If you're worried about making fingerprints on it, maybe just get within an inch of the mirror, right? But the action of physically high fiving yourself in the mirror is so important because it helps to build that confidence. It has that positive self-talk. So back to my example, I'm in the bathroom, I've got my big power pose on, and I'm telling myself, you can do it. You've prepared. You are okay. You're going to do just great, right? You have skills. You have strength. This company is going to be so happy to have me as part of their employee base. Positive self-talk. Next step is action. You must take action in order to go for what you want to go for. So you have positive self-talk, action. The action is super important. And then the third piece of this is repetition. Positive self-talk, action, repetition, and then you have unshakable confidence. Now, why is it worth trying? It's worth trying, and this comes directly from Mel Robbins. She says it's worth trying because everything you do in your life is preparing you for something that hasn't happened yet. It may not be preparing you for the thing you want right now. You may try for something and fail and not get that. And so then you're like, well, why did I put myself out there? What was it worth? It's worth trying. Everything is worth trying because it's going to prepare you for something that hasn't happened yet. You have amazing things in your life that are lined up to come into your life as long as you're willing to try and you get that confidence. Now, I want to honor that sometimes you're really scared. And one of the things you can do when you're really scared, fear feels overwhelming. I want you to say out loud, I want you to use this phrase. I want you to put your hand on your heart. Put your hand on your heart. Physically touch your chest and say, hey, you're really scared right now. I know, but your heart is in the right place. And let that help you take that action because that's positive self-talk. And then when you show up joyfully, you show up with purpose, you become magnetic for other people to want to support and help you, magnetic for opportunities, magnetic for relationships to just grow and develop. And when you're a better human, business comes to you. My friend, what I want for you today is I want you to have that unshakable confidence. It's something I want for my daughters. I want it for you. Even when we're in our 40s and 50s, we may still not feel confident. But remember, confidence is not a feeling, it's an action. And if you reframe it as an action, you're going to do great things, my friend. Thanks so much for joining. Please, if you would do me a quick favor, I love putting this podcast on and I need help to grow it. And the best thing you can do to help is to leave me an honest review on Apple Podcasts. That would be super helpful. So thanks so much. And I appreciate you and have a fantastic